Hey everyone, welcome to the premiere episode of the new series called Kolobanov. You receive this medal when you're the last remaining tank on your team and opponent has 5 or more tanks alive. So usually it's a very rare medal, not as rare as pools though, but one of the rarest medal and cool medals because you have to either kill the remaining 5 tanks or cap the base out. It's not as exciting to when you cap out the base. However, with the current meta, it's not even possible to cap out the base because tanks are quick. I used to get decent amount of Kolobanovs back in the day, especially in Assault, but Assault is not that common. But that was one of the fun scenarios where you would be the only one alive and enemy team is just too slow to kill you. And that used to happen more often than it should have, but that's no longer the case. So in this series, most of the episodes will be where you end up killing the tanks. But occasional, maybe a little cap here and there. But that is not the case in this game or in this video. I am in Strv 103B. I love this tank. I absolutely love this tank just because of how it plays, how it handles. It is not your typical tank destroyer with big alpha or very high penetration. It is a siege mode TD. Very, very good concealment. Best in class. Best in class accuracy. Premium is APCR and has decent shell velocity as well. However, this tank received multiple buffs over the years. Well, it did got nerfed initially with the update 4.6 many years ago, but since then it has received multiple buffs, like some of the restoring of DPM, quick getting in and out of siege mode, as well as the most recent buff that was the main one, and that is they buffed the armor, the upper plate from 40 to 50 mm. So basically, this tank, the tier 10, can no longer be overmatched by a 150 caliber gun. And we don't have that many guns above 150, so a hull down Strv, the only place you can pen it is its hat, so you need to have an accurate gun, or you can try shooting HE at him. It does have heat shields, but does still take some damage from HE as well. You can at times pen the lower plate, but as I said, a good Strv player won't be spotted. And even when he's spotted, he is hull down and basically will be farming you with its quick DPM and accuracy. This game kind of started off slow, and it is one of the best maps, or not the best maps. It is one of the maps most known, or the original map known for having the best sniping hill, and that is at B0. The other side doesn't have that advantage, but this side does. You can essentially play B0, you can see the enemy coming, you can punish them, and then you can retreat. I started at C9 as our team was playing aggressive, and I didn't have tanks in render, so I decided to move forward. Only got one shot, and then decided to move back to my original position at D0. We are currently losing by 5 tanks, 4 tanks now. But the good thing is there is no artillery, because artillery is a nuisance to every tank, but more so to Strv, because when you get spotted, it takes a second to get out of the siege mode, which is again faster than what it used to be, but still a little bit longer. Or provided extra time for artillery to hit you, especially with their quick aim time these days, and better accuracy. And this tank is also used in comp, and that should tell you it does the job it is supposed to do very, very effectively. It can hold corners. You can still pen the side of the tank. Actually, you can overmatch the side as it's only 30 mm. So even if a Strv is not directly looking at you, you can pen or go through its sides. But as I said, that's why you have to play the corridors where you are not exposing your side. Some players still don't realize it and just try to shoot the hull. I don't know if you call it hull, but the main structure of the tank, and end up bouncing it, as it's not a very common tank. It's not a tank that you see in every game or every other game. You might see one Strv every 5 games or even less, just because it does not have that big alpha, right? Or it doesn't have that. It has the mobility, but it doesn't have that mobility of Tehran where you will just fire, or any other tank where you'll fire and you can get back immediately, like in a second or two, because this tank takes a bit to retreat and is fixed turret. In siege mode, it does have gun depression, so you can play hull down. And as I said, the strength of this tank is the camo and not be getting penned by RBRT shots, because they won't overmatch it, and we don't really have many 150 guns in the game. There are some, and if they're firing heat as their premium shells, the tank also has a heat shield which can block those shots. So I really like the look of this tank as well. It is beautiful. Not as good. It still does its job what it's supposed to do very effectively, but unfortunately doesn't get the opportunity in most maps because of how fast the games are, and you can get flanks. Once you get flanked, it's essentially GG because you can't really fight that effectively. The score is a 6-10. I've done 3600 damage, 1 kills. Did get some punish on the tanks that were over peaking. Kind of using the bush. I should have been a little bit back because the tank does have muffled shot is kind of tied to your camo and doesn't get spotted easily if I'm using the bushes correctly when firing. So you can farm those tanks comfortably. Also, there were a decent amount of tier 8s in the game that was just essentially easy damage for this tanks when they're pushing it towards the tank. And because I'm on the hill, right, it's not easy to dig me out. All you need is basically a tank at B7 or a couple tanks at B7, and then I can play at C0 and we will have a very strong cross. And that is kind of unbalanced on this side as well because it's not as easy to hold over on the other spawn. So this spawn is definitely stronger because of the high ground as well as the position they get to defend the base. Kirovitz was pushing, and as you can see, he's only 380 meters, and I was able to kill him without getting spotted. Quickly turn around, RBRT the Leopard, and the score is now 5 versus 7. At this point, it looked like it's pretty comfortable. We should win, as our striker finished bad AP. But they also have a full health Strv. We just got spotted for the first time. Penned him and tracked him. However, repaired. It is difficult for a Strv to kill Strv unless you hit the hatch as well, because you can't really get around each other, right? You both have that limitation. Score is 4v6. One of our tank decided to go to the field. There's no point really when you're losing to go to the town. What you're doing is throwing away your tank. I also see time to time people just jumping into the water. I feel they need to remove the spots where you can drown yourself. They have done a good job with the newer maps where you can't drown yourself, but they're still old maps. And time again, I have seen players on my own team, whenever they feel they are losing, they would just go to the water or in the enemy team. And there's nothing worse when you want to try to have a very good game, or when you are trying to hold a game that your opponent just drown themselves. Our heavy on F3 seems very optimistic that he would probably going for cap. It is a tier 8 though. I don't know how that will work out. I guess we all know how, but I don't know. I don't think he understands that he would not be able to cap. The cap's in the open. It's also easier to reset that cap because it's in the open compared to our cap. If we leave this sniping hill, we will not be able to get back in time because of the uphill in the terrain. And 6 minutes remaining for the game. 4v6. It is a game of patience at this point because we can't really go anywhere. What I'm waiting for is, I was hoping that the heavy would be spotted by now and would die. And once he's dead, their team will then start pushing into us, as they will have numerical advantage. They still do, but it'll be more. I have, in the past, I did get a couple Kolobanov in Strv, and 2 of them were actually in Icebound. They were very kind of unbalanced in terms of capping out. Essentially what had happened was my team went one way, their team killed our team, and then I quickly went to their cap, hide behind house, and I was able to get 2 Kolobanovs in one day. And it was very funny because of the bumps on that map. Enemy can't get back very quickly. We don't have that many maps now, and the speed is faster as well, so it doesn't happen as I said earlier, but can happen time to time. And this is my first real Kolobanovs in Strv, if I remember correctly. Spoiler alert, I shouldn't have said that, I guess. But that also says in the title, so not really spoiler alert. What our team is doing is they're making the enemy weak, putting them down to one shot, so they're easier for me to kill. Also, since there's no light tank, they can't really flank me. I do see a tree drop on the left side. Try to spot who it is, so I can at least get rid of one guy, and also extend the life of the remaining two tanks. The tank that got spotted is Strv 103B. Now, I don't know if it was by luck or by like accurate positioning. He managed to start or get into a position where I can't shoot him. I basically ended up costing me 2 shots. I could have shot him earlier and maybe even saved our tank, but I had to reposition. I was still lucky enough to track him and then finish him. And scores now 2v5. Our medium is 1 shot. And if the situation stands, let's say it's 1v5, back in the day it used to be draw, right? You either have to cap or kill all. But now if there are tanks remaining on both teams, whichever team has more tanks essentially win. If there's same number of tanks on both teams, then the team that does more damage, they win. Okay, our medium still have health. I thought he's 1 shot, but he has decent amount of health. Vishaw gets spotted. Another full health tank. And an autoloader. Unfortunate for Skoda, as he dumped all 4 rounds into him, and now he is 1 shot. Again, he used the same rock to put between himself and me, and I wasn't able to punish him at all, and still full health. Our Skoda shot him once, I think, but he's still very healthy. Pantera peeked, and I do manage to kill him. It was 1v5 at one point, and now it is 1v4. Only 3 minutes remaining. Less than 3 minutes. Seems unlikely that I will win, because all they have to do is nothing, basically. Try to put a shot in G-Sword. He was in cover, so I retreated. Still trying to use this bush, but if I do get spotted, they will have an angle to shoot me, especially because they have a waffle. That's the tank I'm worried about, because he can easily clip me. One mistake, if I get spotted in a bad position, I will die. There's not really much I can do at this point, just wait. G-Sword gets spotted again. Try to pen him, but failed. Waffle gets spotted, and I was relieved to see he's 1 shot. And send him back to garage. IS3 gets spotted. He is full health, but not really a problem for Strv, because as you can see, I can just farm him, perma-track him. I did end up bouncing that shot though. Retreated a bit and do blocked a couple of shots. But if I had him better, I could have perma-tracked and just farmed IS3. It doesn't seem very experienced, as he kind of sat in the open. He is trying to use that tank as cover. But any tier 10 TD will go through a tier 8 heavy, no matter how much cover you have, as long as even a little bit of portion is exposed. I am kind of rushing shots because the timer is running out, and I kind of saw that there is a hope for Kolobanov, and you don't want to miss it. IS3 is down to 1 shot, and at this point he decided to move forward as his cover was not working. At 7 kills, 2 tanks remaining. I know where G-Sword was. Their medium was last spotted at A6. And I was hoping that I can chase G-Sword, and he didn't run. As I was moving forward, CDC gets spotted. He is 1 shot as well. Changed back to switching modes, and then went back to the speed mode again to kind of start chasing him. Maybe I would ram him. Took a high ground, so he can't really get in cover. And that's what happened. He kind of backed up into a position that was an easier shot for me. Now the score is 1v1, 8k damage, 8 kills, 45 seconds remaining. At this point, it's still a gamble, because I do have more health. G-Sword's 500, but it's more on which team did more damage. So if our team had more HP by, let's say, 2000, it wouldn't have mattered. They would automatically win, and I do have to kill the last remaining tank to win. 26 seconds remaining. Is that enough time to find G-Sword and kill him? If he starts running, there's no way. I thought he would have probably gone to 3-4 line, or was maybe creating a cross. So I decided to push A line, hoping that I might spot him. and get a shot or two in him, and even maybe end up killing him. Unfortunately, I ran out of time and I had to rely, since I didn't calculate the HP, on the RNG. However, it was in my favor. Our team did more damage, also had more HP left, so that helped, and came out on top 1v5. It was also down to, because not only was I in a strong position, I was also able to farm most of the tanks that were coming without getting spotted, and a lot of them were tier 8s. So that's it for this episode. Keep an eye for more episodes of this series. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.